Hey friends, Blake Corley with PaleoFriend.com. How are y'all doing today? I hope y'all are doing well. If you're not doing well, stick around, listen, and hear me out. Visit my website. I think I've got some things that could help you out. So, anyway, topic for today. I want to talk about heavy metals. Oh, and by the way, I'm out at my property. Kind of a nice day. It's cloudy, overcast, but man, it is bright. The sun's really bright, so I'm squinting like mad. Anyway, so heavy metals. Last year I got sick as hell. You know, gluten being a major contributor to why I was sick. But one thing the doctor found. And by the way, he wasn't a medical doctor. He's the doctor I went to. He's a chiropractor by trade, but he also practices something called pastoral medicine. And he's allowed to practice some things without getting in trouble. So he's able to use some quote-unquote alternative methods and procedures. But one of the procedures he did was a heavy metal test, and it's a very simple test. It's just basically a urine test. Anyway, he found a couple of things in me, main thing being mercury. And like, where the hell did I get mercury from? I don't play with mercury thermometers and never have. Come to find out, you know, it could have been a number of things. We discussed fish, we discussed a number of environmental things, and that was ruled out. And he says, well, how many fillings do you have in your mouth? I said, well, a bunch, and I've had about 9 fillings. So come to find out, you can do your own research. Mercury fillings, it's the silver amalgam. I think there's something like 50% mercury. Very toxic. All that leaches into your body over time, and it never stops. It keeps going and going and going. And mercury builds up in your brain and in your kidneys. Somewhere on the internet there's a sheep. And the sheep, they've fed it mercury, and you can see all the organs. I think it was a radioactive mercury. You can see all the organs where that mercury accumulates. And so anyway, rambling on, all that was in my body, and I've got my mercury fillings removed. Cost me an arm and a leg, because I had 2 crowns. And underneath these crowns I had 2 giant fillings. What's important about those crowns were, it's a gold crown on top of a silver mercury amalgam fillings. And those 2 metals, actually there's some voltage that gets created. When you have 2 dissimilar metals, there's a little bit of a potential difference in electrons, and that creates voltage. They measured those, and it can range from 0 millivolts, or whatever scale they use, to a negative 15. Well, these 2 gold crowns measured a negative 13 and a negative 14. And the rest of my fillings were averaging about a negative 3 to a negative 4, so there was a lot of leaching. When you have voltage, there's leaching. Just like copper pipes in a house, they must be grounded, or otherwise those copper pipes will develop pinholes over years and they'll leak. Well, that's what's happening with those mercury fillings, especially when you have a gold crown or any kind of metal crown on top of those. So all that was done. It was not fun going through all the drilling and everything. The dentist I went to actually is a world-renowned dentist, and he was in my area. The practice is Nunnally and Freeman, and he specializes in mercury amalgam removal, in keeping you safe from the release of the mercury vapors when they do take them out. The dentist I went to was Lane Freeman. She's a very nice lady, very professional, made it as comfortable as possible for me. Yeah, he's had patients not only from Texas come to him, but I think all 50 states and foreign countries come to him. Unfortunately, medical insurance or dental insurance does not pay for removal of mercury fillings. They don't consider that to be a problem. And so all that was out of pocket. I think so far I've got $7,500 in dental work. So yesterday is open enrollment at work for insurance, and I dropped my damn dental insurance. My dental insurance over years of paying for that, I think I've been paying in for 17 years or so. All that money I've been paying in, they paid and covered toxic mercury fillings to put in my body. And when you get sick with it, they don't pay to take it out. And that's just a tragedy, a rip-off, and just downright immoral for them to cover a toxic substance when there are alternatives. There were alternatives even 17 years ago. And I had a little bit of a discussion with here I go for damning the doctor. I'm damning the insurance company. I'm going to damn the doctor. Had a little bit of a discussion with Dr. Glidden on his webinars. And I told him, hey, my dentist was impressed, my original dentist, who I had to fire. He was impressed with my x-rays and said my gums were in excellent shape. Here's my longevity plug, because I'd been on the longevity calcium, OsteoFX. And my gums were in really good shape. Before, there were some questionable things that they always were worried about. And so I told Dr. Glidden this, and thinking, hey, this is great. And of course Dr. Glidden says, yeah, that's great, but I bet he didn't even ask you why. Why and how did you recover your gums? And I got to thinking, he sure did not ask me. He didn't care. And Dr. Glidden comes back and said, I hope you fired the son of a bitch. And he said that on his webinar. And when I had this mercury problem, got diagnosed with it, I talked to my old dentist about it. And he says, there's been no evidence of this and that and so forth. And he went the typical medical route because he was trained in medical science, and that's what they teach them. I don't hate him. I do consider him a friend because I live in a small town. But the story, what I'm getting to is they are trained, medical doctors are trained in what they're trained in. They spend a lot of money and they're indoctrined, so to speak, with that philosophy that whatever comes out of medical school is grace and there's no challenging it. And, it takes people like Dr. Nunnally, Dr. Freeman. Dr. Nunnally, by the way, is a fully trained, licensed naturopathic physician, but since he can't practice naturopathic medicine in Texas, as one state he can't practice in, he's doing dentistry. You can find him on healthysmilesforlife.com, I think, is the website. Stuart Nunnally is his name. So, hope this is helpful. If you have a lot of mercury fillings, I would suggest getting them removed. You can get tested for mercury if you have a naturopathic physician in your area. You can certainly ask him if he does heavy metals test. You can find a doctor in your area, perhaps a chiropractor or a doctor who practices functional medicine. If you go to a functional medicine doctor, like I did, they are going to charge you a lot of money. I just forewarn you. It's money well spent. Hey, I've spent a lot of money with my doctor, but I can tell you, it's money well spent. The effects I've had after getting the mercury removed, walking out of the office, I was sore, in a lot of pain, but I could tell that something was better. I was lighter on my feet, and later on in the next several days, a couple weeks, I quite literally felt like I had 50 pounds of weight taken off of my back. You know, you hear those euphemisms, but quite literally I felt like I had been dragging around this dead weight for a lot of my life. So another friend of mine, I didn't know she had a problem, but I found out later she had a problem with mercury. She went to the same doctor, the same dentist I did, had hers removed. She wrote back, "Oh my God, Blake, I can't believe this. I no longer have that feeling of strangling somebody." So apparently she was having some issues. I heard another story of a poor lady. She couldn't afford the dentistry in the area. I don't know her, but what I understood is she had a lot of mercury and I guess all of her fillings. She could not afford the dentistry. So she had the dentist that she went to pull them all out and go for false teeth. I sincerely hope you don't have to go to that extreme. But, you know, if you go to the medical doctor, they'll just keep treating your symptoms and you'll never get better. You'll be their little bitch for life, so to speak, in that you'll keep coming to them and spending your money, and he'll keep running up your medical insurance and milking your medical insurance. And it's hard for me to say, do they do that on purpose or do they do that just because they were trained that way? You know, I'm trying to give the doctor all the benefit of the doubt that I can. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars going to medical school, and they have a right to believe that they're right, but you know, as technology progresses, a lot of times the medical doctors aren't up to speed with the latest in research, and you have to take it on yourself to get healthy. The United States government, the FDA, the USDA, and the training that they tell the teachers in the schools to teach the kids, and what I learned when I was a kid, all that's, as far as the diet, the four food groups and all that, a lot of that is false. You know, fruits and vegetables are wonderful, but a lot of the other things are either just dead wrong or there's some caveats to what they've recommended. So anyway, rambling on. That was my story with mercury. Hope you enjoyed the scenery. Hope my face is clear. Any questions, please message me. My website is paleofriend.com. Thanks.